What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 summary preview analysis. Today, guys, we are going to be going over the summary and preview for episode 65 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. I'm excited as always to get into these Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 summary discussions with you guys. So, without further ado, let's not waste any more time and let's jump right into it. Alright guys, here is the episode 65 summary. The title of it is called Lofty Providence, and just by that one word right there, I'm already intrigued with this summary. Yuga and Co. head to Maximum Mountain to stop Tiger's excessive training, probably after her loss to Luke. They look after Tiger, who was just about to pass out. However, the sixth Ross then shows up. Yuga insists on a duel, and Tiger is willing to fight, but she's still not in good shape. So Asana decides to duel in her place. The one Yugioh chooses as Asana's opponent is ... Oh boy, this is going to be an interesting matchup. So it seems like we're going to be getting Asana versus Nail. I mean, if it wasn't already for the preview showing that Nail was going to be doing in this episode, I mean, the title of this episode shouldn't have been enough. I mean, who is the only character that has been mentioning Providence? There's only been one character to be full on the whole Providence thing, and that is Nail. So just based off of that, it was already confirmed, even without having to watch the preview, that it was going to be Asana versus Nail, which is actually pretty exciting. This was a duel that I was not expecting to be in this arc, I was going to be completely honest, but it's a matchup that I'm very excited for. But I will say this, I do have worries with the duel. Now, I think the duel has the potential to be one of the best duels of Sevens. I really do think so. But there's a couple of worries that I kind of have with this duel. Well, more one worry and one thing I kind of don't like because of the timing of this matchup. The thing I'm really worried about is the duel not living up to the hype. I think about the last two duels that we've had, you know, Luke versus Roa and Luke versus Tiger. I just really did not think those duels held up to the expectation that I was wanting to see with these two matchups. And I'm really worried that Asana and Nail is going to have the exact same predicament, where it's a duel that it's very hyped up and it's a very exciting matchup, but it might not end up living up to the hype. And I really do hope I'm wrong in that. I really do hope that this is a Nail versus Asana duel that I've wanted to see for a while now. Ever since really Asana came into the show, I've always wanted to see her face off against Nail, since both of them have maximum monsters, which is another thing to kind of think about with this duel, is that will she have a maximum monster? Remember, the last time she used her maximum monster was against Yuga back in the third arc, and that card ended up disintegrating because they were using old ID cards. So unless Asana is able to reobtain her maximum monster, she's going to essentially have an overwhelming disadvantage against Nail. I mean, I look back at the Gakuto duel where Gakuto faced off against Nail, and Nail completely dominated that entire duel. I mean, literally, Gakuto was only able to survive by being able to luckily get 3 of his Yame rulers into the graveyard, and essentially was only able to nick a draw off against Nail. So, with that thought process in mind, I feel like Asana in this duel absolutely needs to have her maximum monster. I do not want this duel to feel one-sided going into it. I would really hope that Asana uses her maximum in this duel. That way I feel like both of these characters are even going into this matchup, because I feel like that these two characters are even. I really do believe that, so I want them to show that off by having Asana use her maximum, and obviously we know Nail is going to be using his maximum. I mean, every single duel he's had in the show so far, he's used his maximum, and also in the preview, we saw him summoning his maximum monster, so we know for a fact he's going to be using it. But I will say this though, as much as I think this can live up to the hype a little bit, I do think there is kind of a hindrance to it as well, and that's because I believe that this duel is going to be pretty predictable in my opinion. And I know what you guys are going to say. Well, I just made the argument that I want these characters to be evenly matched. How in the world am I saying that this duel is going to be very predictable? Well, the reason I say that is because of the point system. Right now, Yugioh's team is losing right now 4-5, and Yugioh's team needs to win this duel, because if they don't, that's over. Yugioh wins. He's able to get rid of rush duels because they would get the 6 points that they need to be able to destroy rush duels. So, with that in mind, and we know that Neil is going to be on Yugioh's team for this duel, they need Asana to win this duel, and that is where I kind of hate the fact that this duel is happening right now, because I just feel like this duel just ends up being a little bit more predictable. Now, it's not fully predictable, I will say that much, because I think there's a good chance that Asana can win, and I think there's a good chance that a draw will happen. I do not think Nail will win this duel, because, again, if Nail wins this duel, that's it. It's over for Yugioh and the crew. And I know what people are going to say. Well, maybe Nail can win the duel and it can be a similar situation to what happened when Yoshio faced off against Mimi, where Yugioh's team still essentially ended up getting a strike on them because of Mimi in the database essentially was a part of Yugioh's team, even though she was fighting for Nail's team at that moment in time. So, yeah, they could do something like that, but I just really don't see them doing that again. Don't get me wrong, I think that would be pretty cool if they did that again and kind of giving a big old boot to Yugioh and kind of foiling his plans a little bit there, but I just don't honestly seeing that happening in my opinion. So when it comes to this duel, it's either going to be Asana wins this duel or it's a draw. And if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I kind of hope that this duel is a draw, and I know a lot of the Asana fans out there are going to be pretty mad that I say that, because I know a lot of people want Asana to win this duel, but there's a particular reason why I feel like this duel should be a draw, and it's for one character in particular, and that character is Luke. Luke right now, in my opinion, needs to lose a duel this arc. I mean, it just makes the most sense, and I feel like with this arc, Nail and Luke both have to duel in this arc. I feel like it just makes the most sense, right? So here's the thing. Yugioh is going to be the final duelist of this arc. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's just no way that Yugioh is not the final duel of the arc, because he is essentially the main antagonist of the arc, whatever way you put it. He is the main antagonist, so he needs to have the last duel. So with that in mind, where's Luke in the whole equation? And this is where we get two possible outcomes if Asana wins this duel. We either have a case where Luke does not duel for the rest of the arc and essentially he goes back to the group, or who knows, maybe when Yugioh loses, he becomes the only remaining president left, and then maybe they pull something out of the rug saying that, you know, since Yugioh is not the president anymore, he gets kicked off of it, or something weird like that. Or he does duel in this arc, but essentially that duel ends up becoming a draw. One of these two duels, whether it's Luke's duel against whoever the hell he duels, or this duel in particular that's going to be happening in this episode, the Asana Nail duel, one of those two duels has to be a draw to be able to set up for what's more than likely going to be Yugioh versus Yugioh. I mean, that makes the most sense, right? I mean, it's always your protagonist versus your main antagonist. So that's going to essentially be the last duel of this arc. And essentially, when you look at it in hindsight, you don't really have many options here. You either have Asana win and Luke does not get his loss this arc, whether the fact that he draws in his next duel or he just does not duel at all and it just goes straight into essentially Yugioh versus Yugioh, because I believe that's going to be the final matchup. Or you have Asana and Nail draw in this duel and you give Luke his loss. Because I'm going to be honest, and I know people might bring up, well, maybe Asana can win this duel and Luke can still lose. But if that's the case, they would have 6 to 5 points, and unless they do some weird crap to where even though it's 6 to 5 right now, Yugioh says even though you got to the 6 points first, you still have to duel me in order to be able to save your rush duel robot, essentially putting everything on the line in that moment, which could happen, but honestly, I just don't see them doing that. So it depends on what is more valuable. Asana getting the win now and getting a very big win against Nail, or Luke ends up getting his first loss in the show. That is essentially the dilemma we have here, because I'm not going to make the bold prediction that Asana is going to win and then Luke is going to lose in the same arc. I just don't see that happening with the time that we have and where the point system is right now. And that's why I kind of am a little upset that this duel is happening right now. I still think the duel has the potential to be one of the better duels of not just this arc in general, but in all of Sevens right now. And I'm very excited for this duel. But when you look at all the other criteria that's going on right now, I don't know, like, it just makes me think that maybe this duel should be a draw. I mean, hey, maybe they end up having a rematch later down the line, and essentially they have it to where there's no stakes on the line, so it doesn't make the duel a little bit more predictable, but it's just essentially two titans facing off against each other, and essentially it will be even more unpredictable since the last time they faced off against each other, they ended up nicking a draw between each other. So with that in mind, it's essentially who was able to grow stronger as a duelist. When they first faced off against each other, they were even with each other. And with the rematch duel, we then get to learn who is the stronger duelist. I would love if they did that, but I just don't know if they're going to do that. Again, it's depending on what they think is more valuable. Asana getting the win now, which I think would be great for Asana getting a big win against Neil, even though I already know going into that duel, people are going to complain and bicker about Neil losing this duel because it happened when he faced off against Gakuto. It's going to happen when he faces off against Asana. I can guarantee that much. I would be shocked if everyone was excited for this and there was no complaints about Nail losing this duel. I would be in shock. But we're going to have to wait and see. But with that being said, guys, that is going to be it for this summary preview analysis. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this upcoming duel between Asana and Nail, and who do you think is going to win this duel? Do you think Asana is going to win? Do you think it's going to be a draw? Or out of nowhere, do you guys think that Nail is going to win this duel? And the final thing I want to ask you guys, and this is not what you guys think is going to happen, this is what you guys want to happen. This question I'm going to ask, I don't want you guys to think about Sevens and what you think the writers are going to do. I want you guys to, in your guys' opinion, say what you think should happen. Do you think that Asana should get this win right now and Luke not lose this arc? Or do you think they should draw in this duel and have Luke lose in this arc? Essentially, what do you think is more important right now? Asana winning or Luke losing? I would love to know your guys' thoughts on that down below. But guys, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, guys, take care and have yourselves a great rest of your day.